I'm Larry Weiss, and I'm here with Luke Layton and Jeff Rice, two very, very dear friends. The three of us now form a Sportsman's Life. We appreciate you being with us. I appreciate being with these two guys right here. So you guys know what's on tap for today, for today's show?
I don't have a clue.
I know we're going to have a lot of fun. It doesn't really matter. I mean, what we plan, we probably won't do anyway. We'll do something else, but it's going to be fun.
We always have a good time.
Stay tuned.
Welcome, friends. Welcome to A Sportsman's Life. Jeff Rice here. We are going to take us a little walk. We've been seeing a group of hogs come in every night pretty much the same time. We've got about 20 minutes, and I fully suspect they'll be there. The last 4 nights in a row, my trail cams that sends pictures to my phone has been telling me that they're coming in to a feeder down yonder here right around 7 o'clock. So we're going to slip on down there and get set up. We got a shooting stick, 300 blackout. We got the digital night vision, sight mark, photon RT, and they've been coming in daytime. So this shoots in the daytime. You can see this through the scope in the daytime as well. So we're going to try to slip on down, and I got to keep it quiet here because we're getting pretty close to the time. But we're gonna sneak on down and see if we can't get on one of these hogs that have been coming in. So stay tuned for a fun and exciting show this week, and look forward to bringing you some fun and exciting action here on A Sportsman's Life. Well, there you have it, folks. That happened pretty quick, so we knew they were going to be in. I just knew. The trail cam's been telling me that's really the important thing about having eyes in the woods. Those trail cams are invaluable, and the ones that send a picture to your phone, you really know what's going on. So all week long, this week it's Friday evening, but all week long they've been coming into this same feeder every time within about a 15-minute span every night. And so, I mean, one would assume that they would be in here exactly when I figured they would be, and they certainly were. So we put the hit on one. I know I hit it. I heard it hit. It acted a little goofy when it ran across the road, so don't know how good of a shot I got on it. I was kind of using my shooting sticks there, but I felt like I was on him. So we'll go take a quick peek here. I've given it a few minutes. I went back to camp and dropped off the shooting sticks and just sat down for a bit, but it's starting to get dark, so I don't want to wait too long. I'm gonna go down there and just take a peek and see what we can find. So stick with me here, friends. Let's go see what we got. Hopefully we got a hog down the ground. So more to come here in A Sportsman's Life. following the blood trail, and I just kicked him up. Must have shot a little high. I don't know exactly. I mean, it looked like it was a good shot, but hard to tell. He's wounded. It's starting to get dark, so I'm gonna venture on. Maybe we'll find this guy. I don't know. Shooting sticks. I thought it was right on him, but sometimes it's just that's how it works. I don't know. I tell you what, we're having fun. So, regardless, let's mosey on. See if I can find him. I'm gonna sneak down and around the road here yet and see if I can cut him off at the pass down there. I know which direction he's going, so if he slows down enough and I can get on him, maybe we'll get a shot. Stay tuned. Well, folks, this is the area I last spotted him when he was, I think he was bedded. There was a big spot of blood, and I've been trailing him for a while now. Starting to lose blood. It's just a drop here and a drop there, which is not a good sign. As you can see, it is extremely thick in here. Very hard to navigate through. So I circled down, went around, thought maybe I'd find him that way. Always come back to the blood trail, so I circled back, came up, found the blood trail where he had bedded for a bit, and obviously that's where I spooked him out. He's not mortally wounded, I don't think. I must have hit him a little high or a little far back or something, but that happens. That's part of hunting. It's not what we want to do, but it happens. So it's starting to get dark. The sun is set. We've got maybe 10 minutes of daylight left, and we won't be able to film. There's a little ridge up here. I'm going to try to sneak over that ridge and look down in there, maybe to see if he might be in there, and if not, I don't know. I'm really having a hard time finding blood. It's I've got a little flashlight, and even with flashlights, it's just so sporadic that makes it very, very, very difficult. If there was a good blood trail, obviously you stay on that blood trail. Well, whew, I'm getting my workout for the evening, that's for sure. All right, I venture on. I don't have much time, so we'll be back if we get a hog. If not, we'll move on to another segment on A Sportsman's Life, so stay tuned. Well, the only thing we found is an armadillo. I've been looking down in this ridge, as you can see. Let me back up here and show you. I think he went down into here, but man, I tell you, it is so thick down in there. You just gotta walk along and look carefully. I have completely run out of blood, so not a good sign. Finding all sorts of critters, just not finding my hog. Look at the size of that cottontail. That's a big one. Yeah, their best line of defense is just not to move. Alright folks, I'm making my way back out of here. Man, you are a porker. I think he's been feeding on corn off my feeders. Look at the size of that guy. Lucky you're not rabbit stew. I think I'm gonna call it an evening. It's just low light, no blood, just other critters. So, all right, folks, we'll be back on A Sportsman's Life.
Well, folks, today we're going to make some campfire guisado. There's a lot of different ways to make guisado, which is a Mexican dish. We're going to make some out of some wild pork and some venison cubed up. So let me kind of walk you through the process. This is a basic guisado recipe, so a lot of variations, but we'll get started off with the basics. So let me show you some of the parts that we're going to be using. Okay folks, here's our deer antler pot holder. We're going to be cooking over this fire right here. And this is some B&B charcoal wood that we're going to be cooking with. Comes in a bag. You get it at Buc-ee's, a lot of different places. There's some of the wood right there. And I'll walk you right over here and show you. Here is the cast iron pot with some cubed up venison and pork in it. So that's our start. Well folks, we are just about ready to make this meat tender. Now it's brown here. I put an onion in here with it. And it's all kind of sauteed down, but it's not tender. We're going to have to cook it a while. Now here is the secret to making easy carne guisado. Fiesta brand. You can get this just about any store. Carne guisado seasoning. Makes it so much easier. Rather than mixing all the spices, just put some of this in. I've already added some. But this has actually got some thickener in it. I'm not sure exactly what they use, but this will actually thicken your guisado. Now, as often is the case, my cooking has morphed into another idea. I think I would like to have a stew, more of a guisado stew. So for that, let's put some tomatoes in the stew, can of tomato sauce. Always stir after you add every ingredient. And how about some carrots and potatoes? This is going to be a stew that tastes, well, it's going to be guisado, okay, but I told you there's a lot of variations the way you make guisado. We're going to make this into somewhat of a stew. And we're going to put a lid on this. We're going to cook it for about an hour, but it's going to require some more water. Actually, I'll probably put just a little bit more water in there. This stew is going to taste just like guisado, but it's going to have the vegetables in it. Now, we could have just cooked the meat. That's the traditional guisado. Okay, folks, let's put a lid on it, and we'll come back and I'll actually check it in about 30-40 minutes, make sure it doesn't stick, and then we'll test us, put some of this in a bowl and test it out. Let's make it tender now. Well, my friends, I tell you what, let's do. Let's take the lid off and take a look here. Here we go. Actually, we have made a guisado stew. Now you can cook this down, cook the water out of it, and put it right on a flour tortilla. Let's take it over here and plate it up and see what it looks like. Well folks, as is often the case in my cooking, I kind of morph recipes as I cook. This time I was really starting to think about just normal guisado, and this has exactly the flavor of guisado. It is guisado, but it's a guisado stew. Let's plate up some of this. Note the fancy tablecloth here that I always use. I've already tasted this, of course, first, folks. But these chunks, these little chunks of meat in here are just as tender as can be. Folks, I'm going to heat up some flour tortillas, put a little more soup in there, stew I should call it, and we're going to have some good guisado stew. Pretty simple stuff. If you just wanted plain old guisado, just make sure and don't put your vegetables. Just cook the meat down and put it on a flour tortilla. I was in the mood for some soup today, or stew, so time to indulge.
I bet you're like me and you love hunting knives. There are all kinds of different styles, all kinds of different lengths. You know, years ago when I worked as a biologist and also as an outfitter on a lot of the different ranches that we had, when somebody came in, a new hunter, everybody carried hunting knives. And the first thing I would look at is the length of the blade. And I noticed something over the years of doing that. The hunter that carries a sharp-bladed knife about the length of your index finger right there probably had a whole lot more experience than the guy that showed up with a bowie knife. Seemed like the longer the knife blade was, the less true experience that hunter had. Over the years, I've used all kinds of different knives. I shot a brown bear, 11 foot, almost 11 foot brown bear in Alaska several years ago with Wayne Wood. And when we got to looking, I'd lost my hunting knife, and the only two knives that we had were two little Swiss Army knives with about 1.5 inch blade. Well, guess what? You can skin out an Alaskan brown bear, a 1,200-pound brown bear with a little Swiss Army knife. So these days there's so many different kinds of knives with disposable blades that work extremely well, like the scalpels that surgeons used to use. I've used some of those, but I'll have to admit I really like the look of a knife is as important to me as some of the other benefits to having a knife. This happens to be one that I get from Silver Stag, and they actually have my name on it. It's a limited edition. And with this one, it's the handles or the grips are made from a buffalo that I shot in Australia. What I'm doing is trying to do a few knives that are available sometimes to the public in a limited edition using antlers or bone or horn or something from the animals that I take. To me, I like the drop point type hunter like this, a drop point type blade, and I like a blade that has got about the same length as my index finger, because with this, when I'm cleaning out an animal, I can reach inside the cavity, because I'm usually going to just bring it to where the ribs start, because I'm going to try to save the cape. So I'm going to have to reach all the way up in. With this length blade, I can reach in there. I know exactly where that tip is. I don't have to worry about cutting my finger when I reach in there. I know where I'm making my cuts. And I've gotten to the point to where my feelings are that any hunting knife that's got a blade longer than your index finger is a waste of good metal, because you can't control that knife. I mean, I've used this one for caping, which is a very tedious type situation sometimes, with trying to remove the skin from around the eyes, the mouth, and around the antlers of the horns, and it works extremely well, and it's big enough to quarter an animal and to even bone it out and to cut steaks if that's what you're wanting to do. But I like one that's got a little bit bigger of a handle, so I got a good grip to it, and a little bit of a guard, because when your hands get wet, you don't want them slipping onto the blade and cutting, so you got to be careful when you use a knife. As a kid, I had knives all the time, and I've got scars all over my finger. That's why I know what I'm talking about when it comes to some of the length of blade and things like that, because by all means, I probably should have a few digits missing as much as I used to cut myself when I was a kid with a knife. But good hunting knife is one that you want to carry, you want to take great pride in. Sharp knife is very important. Keep it sharp. Carry a little diamond steel with you, or a little or a diamond sharpener stone kind of thing, or a steel that you can hit. And the best way to keep a knife sharp is to keep a knife sharp. Don't let it ever get dull. Get you a good hunting knife. Keep it in a sheath. Now you can also use folding ones. This happens to be a sheath so that you can wear it on your belt, so it sits like this, or at a cross horizontal to your body as well too. Kind of like this because it kind of keeps that knife out of the way a little bit. But a lot of good knives out there. Find one that you like, that's your preference. Keep it sharp and use it whenever you get a chance to, which means get out there and do a whole lot of hunting, do a whole lot of fishing, and get you a good supply of fish and meat, waterfowl, whatever.
Folks, thank you so much for joining us here on our Sportsman's Life. I mean, what a great adventure we had today again, and looking forward to another great adventure next week, huh, boys?
You betcha. I'm ready to go.
I'm not. I want to stay right here. Y'all join us next week.
And a special thanks to these fine sponsors: Air Force Air Guns, B&B Charcoal, Dallas Safari Club, Hornady, Pyramid Air, Nielsen Specialty Ammo, Sightmark, Smokin' Tex, Snap Block Hunting Blinds, Texas Raised Hunting Products, and Striper Express.